Can you believe it? A girl group with just 4 members, and somehow they changed everything. Blackpink didn't just conquer K-pop. They have done more than just top the charts. They shattered gender norms, redefined beauty, and became silent icons of love and LGBTQ+ freedom. Not through controversy, through confidence. How about you? Has Blackpink ever made you feel braver, freer, or just seen? Let us know in the comments. We're listening. When Blackpink debuted in 2016, no one saw it coming. But within a few months, they were more than just a K-pop group. They became a global phenomenon that took the world by surprise. Before they became legends, they were just names on a trainee list. 4 young women from different parts of the world: Rosé from New Zealand, Lisa from Thailand, Jennie from New Zealand via South Korea, and Jisoo, the only one who had never left their home country. No one expected much from them. In fact, many expected nothing at all. YG Entertainment hadn't debuted a girl group in 7 years, and the industry had already established what K-pop girls should sound like. Spoiler alert, Blackpink doesn't fit that mold. And they're lucky. They trained in the dark for more than 6 years. They danced until their feet bled, sang until their voices cracked, lived far from home, far from comfort, and far from any promise of a debut. Lisa, just 14, arrived in Korea without knowing a word of Korean. Rosé gave up her quiet life to pursue a dream everyone said was out of reach. Jennie, fluent in English, Korean, and charismatic, was the center of all expectations. And Jisoo, a quiet storm, often overlooked, but quietly holding the group together like glue. They could have fit in, played it safe, what the industry expected, but they didn't. From the first beat of Boombaya, it was clear. Blackpink wasn't here to be cute. They were here to conquer. The sound was powerful, the styling was bold, and the message: we're not your next girl group, we're the only one like us. While other rookies were slowly rising to prominence, Blackpink broke barriers and strode forward in high-heeled boots. Each member brings something different to the table, but together they're an unstoppable force. Lisa's sharp dance moves and tomboyish style subvert gender norms. Rosé's voice, fragile and soaring, isn't traditionally perfect, but that's what makes her so memorable. Jennie is both soft and fierce, transitioning from runway-ready elegance to glass-burning raps. And Jisoo, often called the quiet one, turns out to be strong, reserved, and unabashed. Each girl defies a stereotype, and in doing so, they give their fans permission to defy their own. But here's where it gets even more powerful. Blackpink isn't just topping the charts, they're touching hearts. It's not just their fierce style that's conquering the world, it's their authenticity. In an industry obsessed with perfection, Blackpink stands out by embracing their flaws. The genuine tears in their documentaries, the unabashed giggles in behind-the-scenes clips, the quiet, vulnerable moments that most idols are trained to hide. It's not weakness, it's courage. They don't chase an image, they choose authenticity. And in doing so, they've become more than stars. They've become relatable, and unforgettable. And it's that humanity that has made them silent icons of the LGBTQ+ community. They didn't need to wave rainbow flags to be heard. Their art spoke for itself. Lisa's genderless style, Rosé's lyrics steeped in pain and yearning for non-labeling, Jennie's fearless confidence, Jisoo's refusal to conform to idol beauty. For countless queer fans living in places where being true to themselves is still a challenge, Blackpink represents more than just a pop group. They are a symbol of strength, hope, and fearless self-expression. They are a signal: you are not weird, you are cool, and you are not alone. But it hasn't been easy. The media has called them cold, arrogant. They are too strong, too loud, too trendy, too visible. But that's the thing. When you stand out from the world, it often means you fit into a new one. And that's exactly what they've built. A new world where confidence isn't arrogance, where being different isn't shameful, where silence isn't safe. They've turned the stage into a place of power, not just performance. Their debut wasn't just a musical moment, it was a cultural shift. In a country where girl groups are expected to be discreet, they brought boldness. In an industry that thrives on imitation, they brought individuality. They didn't follow trends. They became one. They proved that a girl group can be feminine without being fragile. That softness doesn't mean weakness. That fashion can be armor, that vulnerability can be the bravest look. Even the name Blackpink is an act of quiet rebellion. Black, bold, powerful, mysterious. Pink, tender, radiant. Two shades that seem unlikely to go together, but when they do, they become something unforgettable. Aren't we all? A little fierce, a little vulnerable, a little lost, a little brave. So if you've ever felt like you don't fit into a certain mold, maybe this is the moment you realize you don't have to. You're not here to belong, you're here to shine, to be seen, to be celebrated, just like them. What part of Blackpink's journey do you relate to the most? Their bold personalities, their iconic style, their quiet strength? Share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear yours too. Because this isn't just Blackpink's story anymore. It's our story. And it's just getting started. Blackpink isn't just performing. They inspire. And we're going deeper, beyond their music and fashion, to explore how these four women have become global icons of strength, identity, and transformation. Icons who have redefined what it means to be a woman, an Asian, an artist, a leader. In the early years of Blackpink, Jennie was often called too aloof, too emotionless, or too polished to be believable. But behind that calm exterior was not a cold personality. It was a quiet shell. A soft shell built not out of arrogance, but out of survival instinct. And for countless queer fans watching from the shadows of judgment, that instinct is deeply ingrained. Because when your truth is policed, your love is scrutinized, and your presence is constantly questioned, you learn to wear silence like a second skin. Jennie, whether intentionally or not, has become a reflection of that resilience. A mirror for anyone who has ever had to hide their light just to stay safe. She doesn't just exist in the spotlight. She's still doing it and teaching others how to do the same. Jennie's evolution from so-called ice queen to global icon didn't come through headlines or online controversy. She didn't need to explain herself. She just was, unapologetically, with quiet elegance and a maturity that only grew. In a world that often demands that women, especially Asian women, be sweet, easygoing, and charming, Jennie's quietness felt different. She didn't force a smile to put others at ease. She didn't soften her appearance to win approval. And queer fans noticed she simply existed as her complex, whole self. And in doing so, she gave others permission to do the same. In the quiet moments of the interview, Jennie gently lifts the veil that hides her inner world. She admits that public judgment has hurt more than people realize, that constant scrutiny has built walls around her. But even behind those walls, she reveals something rare: vulnerability. And you feel it, deeply, when she performs solo. It's not just a song about independence. It's also a reflection on a journey of self-discovery. A gentle reminder that choosing yourself doesn't mean closing yourself off to love, but reconnecting with your own worth. When Jennie closes her eyes and sings, it's not about closing herself off to the world. It's about returning to what matters inside. For many young people, especially those on a journey to find identity and belonging, solo feels familiar. Not because it's loud or dramatic, but because it gently conveys something that so many people understand. The quiet courage it takes to be true to yourself in a world that often misunderstands quiet strength. Solo is more than a performance. It's a gentle awakening, a reminder that your story belongs to you, and wholeness can begin the moment you decide to honor it. Then there's You and Me, a performance from the tour that nearly broke the internet. Jennie, center stage, glides into a slow dance with a female dancer. No rainbow tricks, just energy. Their eyes lock for a moment so intense that even the lights seem to stop. It's tender, intimate, lively. And the queer internet, they don't just react, they empathize. Posts flood Twitter, TikTok, and Tumblr. Is that a wink? Is that a dance or a confession? Some debated what it meant, some questioned its purpose. But for many, especially those who seek love in silence, who have had to hide tenderness in a corner, it feels like a gift. A quiet moment where something unspeakable is said without words. Because sometimes when a woman dances softly with another woman in the spotlight, it's not a performance. It's a presence. It's about what could be. And for those watching, it's not just a dance. It's a glimpse into a world where tenderness, connection, and freedom don't need to be hidden. And that's Jennie's power. In the subtleties. In the way her fashion choices blur the lines between masculine and feminine. In the way she wears an oversized coat one day and a sheer lace top the next, and never feels the need to explain either. In the way she can silence people without making a fuss. She doesn't advertise herself as a queer icon. That openness, that fluidity, makes her not just approachable, but aspirational. In many ways, she's the implicit answer to the question so many young queer fans are asking: do I have to choose a side to be loved? Have you ever found yourself drawn to someone not because of who the world says they are, but because of how they make you feel? Not a boyfriend, not a girlfriend, just a connection. A quiet flow between souls that doesn't need a label to feel real. If you've been there, you'll probably find something familiar about Jennie. And if you haven't, you'll probably still recognize the beauty of it. The light in her eyes, the stillness in her every move, the quiet confidence that seems to whisper, "Whoever you are is enough." Jennie never had to show up with a flag. She just showed up with a soft power, in a silence that was more powerful than any slogan. For queer fans around the world, she didn't need to explain. She just was. And by being herself, she creates space for all that doesn't fit into a box. Space for love that's always shifting. For queer longing that doesn't need to be shouted out to be heard. What's a moment in her that makes you feel understood? A lyric, a look, a pose when the world demands silence? Let us know in the comments, because this isn't just a fandom. This is a collective archive of courage. 1,000 silent yeses that say, you belong here too. And just when you think Blackpink has set your heart on fire, Rosé appears, graceful, dreamy, and quietly broken. Her voice, fragile yet soaring, touches the silence we carry, the doubt, the pain, and the quiet strength it takes to heal without praise. If Blackpink were a galaxy, Rosé would be the moon, soft, steady, and quietly washing over our emotional tides. She doesn't explode like a supernova. She lingers, soft, clear, and steady. But somehow she still moves us just as strongly. Her voice isn't meant to break records. It's meant to break hearts, but in the most beautiful way possible. It's a sound that creeps up on you, like a memory you forgot you'd lost. The way her voice trembles on a high note, the way she lets the silence linger between words, it's not just technique, it's real. You don't just hear her, you feel her. Especially if you've ever sat in a room feeling like the world doesn't see you. Rosé's solo work isn't flashy, it's for the soul. On songs like On the Ground and Gone, she strips away the glitz, the spotlight, the perfection, and what's left is pure vulnerability. The lyrics wrestle with self-esteem, identity, loneliness, the things we all think but are too afraid to say. And somehow she says it all in 3 minutes of guitar and a trembling voice. That's why Rosé resonates so deeply with the LGBTQ+ community. Because for so many queer fans, music is more than entertainment. It's a lifeline. And Rosé isn't looking for grand statements or flashy pop beats. She offers something much closer: emotional permission, to grieve, to ask questions, to sit with sadness and still feel worthy of love. She doesn't ask you to be brave, she offers something gentler. The quiet truth that it's okay to feel deeply, to be vulnerable, and to still hold yourself in your own beautiful way. Rosé's fashion is less about show and more about whispers. She's not the type to chase attention with flashy outfits or elaborate logos. Instead, her style is about gentle rebellion. Her clothes straddle the line between fragile and strong, between soft and edgy, and that balance has become her trademark. For many of the young queer fans watching, it's a revelation. You don't have to follow trends to get noticed. You don't need permission to be real. Because Rosé, needless to say, shows us that fashion isn't just about what we wear, it's about how we feel. It's a kind of quiet freedom, a gentle, unwavering way to say, this is me. There's also something to be said about the way she interacts with her fans. Rosé may not be making fiery speeches about LGBTQ+ rights, but her presence speaks volumes. She's been seen gently acknowledging pride art, reposting rainbow edits, accepting queer fan art with gratitude and grace. There's no fanfare, just quiet solidarity. And perhaps that's what makes her impact all the more profound. In a world full of bombastic statements, she's a healing whisper. A whisper that stays with you long after the music has died down. Rosé didn't set out to be an icon, but she became one anyway. To everyone who has ever asked themselves, "Am I good enough?" To every fan who has ever felt like they had to shrink back to fit in. To everyone who has ever tried to hide their tears behind a smile. Rosé is proof that there is strength in gentleness and beauty in sadness. Let's be honest, when was the last time an idol made you feel seen, not as a fan, but as a person? That's the rare connection Rosé brings. And she doesn't do it in a showy way. She does it with just one line in a song that feels like it was written just for you. So maybe that's why her fans are so loyal. Because when Rosé sings, it's not just entertainment, it's healing. And in a world that constantly tells us to be tough, to be strong, to keep going, Rosé tells us to be soft and still bloom. We'd love to hear from you. Has Rosé's music ever helped you feel less alone in moments of confusion or sadness? Has her quiet grace ever reminded you that you don't have to scream to make sense? Leave your thoughts in the comments, because this space, like Rosé's songs, was made for you. If Rosé brings you stillness, Lisa brings you movement, strong, graceful, unforgettable. And now it's her turn. How many idols can walk into a room and make you feel like all the rules are meaningless? Lisa doesn't have to say a word. Her energy says it all. She's more than just an idol. She's a cultural face changer. Born in Thailand, raised in Korea's most rigorous training system, and now dominating international stages, Lisa stands at the intersection of cultures, styles, and identities. And somehow she makes it all look effortless. But here's the thing. Nothing about her journey has been easy. As the only non-Korean member of Blackpink, she didn't just have to dance harder or sing louder, she had to be undeniable. And she did it not by fitting in, but by standing out, by staying true to her roots, by showing that being different isn't a weakness, it's her superpower. Lisa doesn't push boundaries, she ignores them completely. Look at her on stage. The way she moves, like lightning wrapped in elegance. Her dancing doesn't just tap into the rhythm, she owns it. Every step is intentional. Every look, a statement. There's a quiet rebellion in the way she performs, as if she's not just dancing for the world, but daring it truly. And when those moves tap into her unshakable confidence, everything changes. She's more than a performer, she's a force. An icon for anyone who's ever been told to shrink, to be quiet, to be small. She doesn't perform to meet expectations, she performs to rewrite them. Her style? A masterclass in freedom. One day she'll wear a short corset and the next she'll wear baggy cargo pants, sometimes both at the same time. And it always works. Why? Because Lisa doesn't dress according to gender. She dresses to show, to feel, to convey the emotions she wants to share. She doesn't care if it's labeled masculine or feminine, and neither do we. That's why Lisa is not just a style icon or a global star, but also a symbol of freedom, especially in the LGBTQ+ community. Not simply because of her looks, but because of how she lives. There's something quietly revolutionary about seeing someone walk in the world without waiting for approval. Lisa never claims to be a role model. She doesn't need to. Her presence speaks for itself. By showing up fully without fear, she reminds us that there's no one way to be a woman. There's no fixed definition of what strength, beauty, or expression should look like. Whether she's dancing in heels or standing still in silence, she's sending a message that queer audiences feel deeply. You don't need permission to be yourself. And this is something that's often overlooked, but just as important. Lisa doesn't walk this journey alone. Her creative circle, dancers, stylists, choreographers, includes people of all genders. And she treats them not as extras, but as equals, as co-creators, as true stars. She doesn't wave flags and wait for applause, she simply shares the stage. Listen, support. Not flashy gestures, but the little things that add up. The eye contact, the respect, the joy of collaboration. Not a performance, not a setup. It's allyship in its purest form. Quiet, consistent, and loving. And then there's the impact you don't always see, the quiet, powerful way Lisa reaches out to young fans who are still learning to exist in a world that doesn't always make room for them. For many young queer people, especially those who live in places where coming out can seem impossible, Lisa is more than just a performer. She's a lifeline. They see her on stage, confident, radiant, unafraid to be herself, and something starts to shift. They think, maybe I'm not wrong to feel different. Maybe just being myself is enough. A reminder that identity isn't about fitting into a mold. It's about allowing yourself to be who you are. There's a reason Lisa is one of the most followed K-pop idols on the planet. And it's not just her looks. It's her energy, her freedom, the fact that she never tries to represent anyone but ultimately makes everyone feel understood. She's sharp without being rigid, feminine without being soft, strong in the most beautiful, quiet ways. Even in interviews, Lisa is always genuine. She's playful, down to earth, never fake. Whether she's giggling across a language barrier or cheering on a backing dancer backstage, her authenticity shines through. Have you ever caught yourself smiling while watching Lisa dance? Not because of her perfect technique, but because of the feeling of freedom? Have you ever looked at her and thought, if she can be this brave, maybe I don't need to hide? If she's ever made you feel seen, even just a little, let us know. Leave a comment, because this space is for you. And maybe, just maybe, someone else reading your story will finally believe in their identity. Amidst the Blackpink whirlwind, with its stage pyrotechnics, flashbulbs, and global headlines, Jisoo remains at the center of the storm. She's not the first member to wade into controversy or the one who steals every frame, yet she remains unforgettable. Not because she wants the spotlight, but because she keeps her distance. For her group, for her fans, for anyone who's ever been told that soft means inferior. And that's where the story begins, because Jisoo doesn't just break the mold, she does it with grace. At first glance, the world calls her traditional, her elegance, her composure. But what most people miss is that beneath that grace lies a person who's incredibly confident. While others chase viral moments, Jisoo quietly supports queer photographers, collaborates with LGBTQ+ designers, and comes out to fans who rarely get the spotlight. No hashtags, no press releases, just honest, intentional choices. Jisoo's support doesn't come in the form of rainbows or attention-grabbing campaigns. It comes in quieter ways, in a thoughtful outfit choice, a subtle repost, a gentle nod of recognition. It's in the way she notices people, really sees them. For many queer fans, that's exactly what makes her feel different. With Jisoo, they don't feel like outsiders. They feel included, respected, validated. And perhaps that's her greatest strength, not what she says, but how she makes you feel. Because sometimes the most powerful form of support isn't flowery words. It's simply choosing to see someone and letting them know they matter. In her debut role as Snowdrop, something magical happens, especially for LGBTQ+ audiences. Her character wasn't designed to be queer, but the emotional depth she brings, the tenderness, the restraint, the defiance hidden behind the vulnerability, has touched the hearts of fans who have had to hide their own truths. For many, it feels like they're witnessing their own internal struggles on screen. The desire to be understood, the fear of being misunderstood, and the hope that someone, anyone, can meet them with empathy. Jisoo doesn't need to represent a label to represent an emotion, and that's a powerful thing. In Blackpink, Jisoo often feels like an emotional anchor. She's the first to give everyone a comforting hug, the last to pass judgment. She's the one who feels the unspoken. But behind that calm exterior lies a playful spark. When things get too heavy, she's the one to lighten the mood, with a well-timed joke or a gentle tease that lightens the mood. Her humor is gentle but subtle. Fans know that. When Jisoo reacts, it doesn't have to be loud, just enough to change the whole atmosphere. But here's the thing. It's not just her kindness that makes her inspiring. It's who she is. In a world obsessed with innovation, Jisoo has never needed to be someone else. She's just gone deeper into who she already is. And that kind of confidence, sophisticated, grounded, graceful, is rare, especially for women, especially Asian women, especially for public figures who are constantly scrutinized. And yet she stands tall. Not louder, not bolder, just clearer. Her fashion choices are another quiet revolution. While others chase value, Jisoo goes for elegance and edginess. She was walking the red carpet in designs by queer designers long before Pride Month became a marketing strategy. She elevates voices that rarely get a global platform, just by choosing them. And that, again, is the magic of Jisoo. She uses the spotlight not to blind others, but to shine a light on others. You know, it's easy to cheer for loud, flashy, rebellious things. But Jisoo proves that you can be gentle and still move the world. It's whispered with quiet power. Be kind. Be thoughtful. Be yourself, even when the world wants you to be louder, stronger, less lovable. Have you ever felt invisible because your style didn't fit in with the crowd? Have you ever thought that your voice was too small to care? Have you ever wondered if just being yourself is enough? If so, then you understand the power of Jisoo. She's more than just a member of Blackpink. She's a role model. For every underrated young person. For every queer fan still searching for their place. For every girl who's ever been told that softness is a burden. Jisoo shows us that grace can be a form of resistance. That gentleness can be an armor. That support doesn't have to be loud to change lives. So tell us, does her story touch you? Does it remind you of someone in your life who's quietly changed things? Or maybe, just maybe, it reminds you of yourself. Leave us a comment. Share your thoughts, because your story could be the quiet strength someone needs today. And remember, sometimes the strongest people in the room are the ones who never speak up. Just like Jisoo. They never made a big statement saying, "We support the LGBTQ+ community." No hashtags, no press releases. And yet, ask any queer fan who has ever cried at a Blackpink concert, and they'll tell you, these women see them. And that's bigger than any post. It started with the little things. Jennie casually rocking a rainbow corset for Pride. Lisa reposting queer art without saying a word, just a simple heart emoji, and suddenly a young artist felt like her entire identity was being recognized. Jisoo in a loose, genderless suit with pearls and strength. Rosé gliding across the stage in a pastel silk that evoked the soft colors of the transgender flag. You don't need a neon sign when your presence radiates inclusivity. And let's talk about those performances. Blackpink don't just sing. They stage revolutions with jewelry. Their concerts have become more than entertainment. They're safe havens. When you walk into one of their shows, wherever you are, Bangkok, Berlin, New York, Seoul, you can feel it. The atmosphere is electric, and not just euphoric. There's a quiet consensus in the room. Here, you're free. Fans show up in the clothes they've always wanted to wear. Guys in sparkly heels, girls in tuxedos, non-binary people with pride flags painted on their cheeks. Some people came out that night for the first time because they knew that in a room full of people shouting, "You like it?" no one would judge. Some people found the courage to wear what they'd always been afraid to wear. And some people just cry silently because this time they don't have to hide. And it's not just the fans. Blackpink's team is made up of queer creatives, stylists, photographers, makeup artists, set designers. They've been told for years, "You're too much. Tone it down, you don't belong here." But in Blackpink's world, they're the architects. They're not only allowed to be themselves, they're needed. That's how the magic works. Behind the scenes, they collaborate with queer choreographers who push boundaries. Designers who know exactly how to create stage costumes that exude autonomy without having to say a word. Every sequin, every flash, every angle, all of it was created by people who fought to be seen and now help others feel included. That's the beauty. Blackpink has never stuck to their own image. They don't say, "Look at us, we're allies." They say, "Come join us. This stage is yours too." But they're also not afraid to experiment with it. There's humor. Lisa said in a behind-the-scenes clip while wearing a neon fringe outfit, "This is my pride look, right?" And the whole crew laughed. Because it is. They're not afraid of queerness. They don't represent it. They live it. And their lyrics, while not explicitly queer, often deal with themes of self-love, defiance, and boundary breaking. I'm a great solo artist. I don't care what you say. These aren't just breakup anthems. For many fans, they're manifestos of queer identity in disguise. The best part, it all feels effortless. There's no forced messaging, no corporate slogans, just genuine, consistent, and clear support. And that's what makes it so groundbreaking. In a world that craves categorization and control, Blackpink don't just reject the box and nana or D. It's the freedom to be on the beat. Has Blackpink ever made you feel like you don't need to change anything to be worthy? Like you're already good enough just the way you are? That feeling, that quiet confidence, is transformative. Maybe it comes from the smooth vocals, the glittery boots, and the unshakable energy of 4 women who have never asked for permission to be strong. In their world, no one is too much. No one is not enough. So if Blackpink ever makes you feel seen, safe, or unstoppable, don't keep it to yourself. Own it. Live it. Share it. Because it's more than pop music. It's a release that blends with the beat, and maybe that's what makes Blackpink so unforgettable. Blackpink didn't just change music. They changed the way we see beauty, love, and freedom. With just 4 women, each bold in their own way, they have become silent icons for a generation searching for identity and courage, especially in the LGBTQ+ community. If their journeys have made you feel seen, heard, or inspired in any way, we want to hear from you too. Share your thoughts in the comments. We're listening. Thank you for watching video. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and discover more powerful journeys right here on our channel. Your support helps us continue telling stories that matter. What about your words? They're what keep us going. Video next.